Hi, everybody. Hey. That was very loud. I'm so sorry. It's like those are the first words I've said all day. Hi, how are you? Happy Tuesday to you guys. I'm so happy to see you. I'm going to pull this up on my phone real quick, just so that I have got it going in both places here. I hope you guys are having a good Tuesday and a great week so far. Let's see here. Gotta get it pulled up. See lots of eyes. Hello, everybody. Hi. There we are. Awesome. It's always funny to hear myself. All right, so you guys, I'm pulling that up. Oh, hold please. Nobody move. Nobody move. So, sorry. I have to text. I had to text my son. You guys, my son and Sam, I was just talking to Sam. Sam's getting on a plane right now too. My son is on his way. This is his first time ever flying. He's on his way to go see his girlfriend in Ohio, and he got a weird flight, like, because we're in Knoxville, Tennessee, right? And he had a layover in North Carolina, which is like the opposite direction that he was supposed to be going. But anyways, so this is his first like journey outside of like our little bubble here, not just on his own, but like flying as well. So he had to text me to let me know that he was about to get on his second flight. He's headed over to Ohio now. So safe travels to him and safe travels to Sam as well. Oh, I got a kid in the sky, right? How weird is that? Like I got a kid in the sky. Oh, it makes me a little nervous. But you know how moms are. I was like, you have to text me as soon as your plane lands. You have to text me as soon as you get into the airport. And then you have to text me before you get on the next flight. And then when you land again, he was like, Mom. Like, no, you don't understand. I have to know these things. This is the first time he's ever traveled away from me. So he is growing up. It's so hard. And when he comes back, he starts school. So he'll be doing his whole college thing. And because this makes me sad. He's doing like part-time school at home and part-time school on campus. So he still will be with me during the day, but like, it's weird right now. He is away and my girls are both in school. So my house is empty. It's just me and the dogs, and it is so quiet. And I have to like fill up the empty quiet with noise, because I'm always like vocal stimming anyway. Is anybody else like that? It's probably because I have like a touch of ADHD. But I'm always like chattering like to myself, and it's just really weird to have such a quiet house. But anyway, I know you guys didn't come here to hear about all that. I just had to chat a second to get it off my heart. I have my son and Sam up in the air, so sending love to them. All right, so you guys, it's Tuesday. I hope that you guys are having a great week so far. I got to tell you, if you are anywhere near where I am, or if you've been in the South over the past few days, like the hurricane has made its way off of the coast and is now just sitting on top of us. Like literally, if you pull up a weather map, it's just sitting on top of us. It's not going anywhere. Like we're getting buckets and buckets of rain. So if you're like me and you're stuck at home inside, making jewelry is a great way to fill up the time, right? And I've got an easy project for you guys that I think you guys are going to like, right? I try to keep our regular scheduled projects as beginner friendly as possible. And I think this one is that for sure. This is one that all you got to have is some wire, some pretty beads, and some quick links. And I know a lot of you have got quick links in your stash at home. If you don't have quick links, guys, this is a Beadalon product. They come in a lot of different sizes. They come in silver. They also come in gold. And Susie, I will send you this rain when I'm done with it. I got more than I need. I love the rain, but I got a little bit more than I need. I'll send some your way. But if you don't have any quick links, I highly recommend grabbing some of these just because they're so fun to work with. They make great little components that you can wire wrap onto, but you can link them together to make your own chains. You can do all kinds of stuff with quick links. One of my favorite Beadalon products, and I'm always worried that they're going to stop making them. So Mike Shields, if you're listening, please don't ever stop making quick links because I kind of love them. And I would be so sad. And I would probably get on a plane and come up there and like, we have a little fisticuff in the parking lot. I'm telling you, don't stop making quick links. I love them. All right. So I'm using 25mm ones. If you don't have 25mm quick links, that's okay. Just find something else that you've got in your stash that is comparable. If you've got some big chain that you can take some links off of. Also, I'm using some 24 gauge wire to do my wire wrapping, and I'm only using 2 pieces, very small pieces of 22 gauge German style wire. Now, here's the reason. I'm just going to be completely straight up honest with you guys because this is a point where I hope Mike Shields isn't listening to me. Now it's time for him to go away now. Bye, Mike. The reason I'm using artistic wire for this project, and I'm mentioning this just because I want you guys to know that like these are real issues that happen to everybody. I got a dud. I even marked it as a dud. I got, because you guys know I get my wire in these big like 4th pound spools. I got a bad one, and it does not happen very often. In fact, this is the first time that I've ever had a entire spool of wire where it didn't come out very well. So I have this whole spool of 24 gauge or German style wire that I normally would use for this kind of project. And there's something wrong with it. And I'm not entirely sure what it is, but the reason that I'm telling you this, because I'm a Beadalon designer, right? That's like the company that I work for, and I would never say anything bad about them, and I'm not. But what I am saying is that sometimes things happen in production, not just with Beadalon, but with other companies as well. And it doesn't make them a bad company, right? It just means that sometimes problems occur. And so I just wanted you guys to know that even designers can end up with a dud sometimes. It just happens. It just happens. I'm not mad at Beadalon. I'm not going to boycott their products or anything. I'm just saying, like, you know, sometimes stuff like that happens. But it's you know, it's not cool when it's an entire spool, but it's okay because we've got artistic wire and I'll just get some more. Right. Alicia's got a question before we get started. She said, the swirled wire necklace in your Etsy shop is gorgeous. Did you have a tutorial for that technique? Alicia, that's not the first time I've been asked that, by the way. And that's why I'm going to answer this here. So for those of you who are asking about that necklace, because some of you have, the reason I'm answering this question is because, yes, we did do a tutorial for it, but it's in the Hardwired group. So if you like projects like that and you're interested, that's one of the ones that we did in the Hardwired group. That's the paid for group. And open enrollment for that is going to be coming up next at the end of next week, you guys. So if you're looking forward to doing those kinds of projects, those are the kinds of things we do. Just wanted to use that as an opportunity to shamelessly plug the paid group. How do I know that it's a dud? So I'll show it to you up close so you can see it, but these wires come with like this coating over the top of them. And for whatever reason, the coating did not seal on this roll of wire. So though it looks okay at first glance, when you start to work with it, that coating did not get properly sealed. And so it kind of flakes off and peels off. That's how I know it's a dud. And when it peels off, it doesn't feel the same anymore. So I don't want to use it. You know, I can use it for practice wire, but I don't want to make any like good piece of jewelry out of it. But it just happens. It just happens. It doesn't mean they're a bad company. It just means stuff happens, right? Okay. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just looking over the comments real quick. I'm going to go ahead and turn you guys around. Let's get to this. I know some of you out there are like, shut up already. Can we just get to work? So yes, we can. Let's do it. All right. So I don't know if you'll even be able to tell just from looking at it. You might be able to see. Can you see the little, it almost looks like little skips. Can you see like the little skips in it? Do you see what I mean? Like it looks like little dots and dashes. That's where it just didn't get sealed very well. And you just can't tell until you start working with it. I mean, because it looks fine, right? But I notice a difference when I start working with it. When I start making sharp bends in it, that that outer coating is flaking off of there. It just happens. Just happens. All right. So for our project, and Joan has posted these, we're using the 25mm quick links. If you don't have a quick link, that's okay. Like I said before, you can use anything that you've got in your stash that is round. If you got some big chunky monkey chain, even if it's not 25mm, I would definitely grab one of those because it's cool, right? It's cool. Anything will work. Anything will work. Let me show you what we're doing. Okay, we're going to just wire wrap some pearls, guys. This is super straightforward and easy. This is definitely a beginner-friendly project. We're going to do 2 of these. One of them I'm going to use that I already have. So we're only going to wire wrap one of them because it takes a minute to do. But this is a great practice for those of you who are not comfortable with wire wrapping onto components. This is a great one for that. I'm going to use some little 4mm glass pearls. These are not check glass pearls. These are just regular old glass pearls that I bought on a card. I think I got these at Michael's. And I'm going to use those as our bead to go around. Now, you can use whatever you want to, but I like the 4mm because you can use a lot of them. If you use a bigger bead, you're going to use less beads. I like to have a lot for this project. A couple of other things to mention is 2 pieces of 22 gauge wire because we're going to do some wire wrapping with some larger pearls to connect our 2 little rings together. And then I'm using a tassel. I think I got this in a bead box a while back, but you can use whatever you want. So you don't have to use a tassel. I just thought this blue color was really, really pretty with the pearls, but you can use whatever you want to. All right, so we're going to get started with the wire wrapping part because that's the biggest part of the entire project. I'm using about 24 inches of 24 gauge artistic wire, right? Instead of the German style wire. So I paused for just a second to see a question here. Wanda says, what is the difference between glass pearls and check glass pearls? Wanda, so check glass pearls, I don't really know like the exact answer for this, but let me tell you what I do know. And I can look this up and let you know if there's more information. But from what I understand, just your regular glass pearls here, most of these are manufactured like here in the United States or just any old place, right? They don't come from the Czech. And they're painted on. And you can tell that they're painted on because on the holes, you can see where there's like a little bump of the paint, that outer coating, right? And a lot of times it'll be on both sides, but one side is usually a little bit more pronounced than the other side. But you can tell, you can just tell, like it's just a glass bead that's been painted over. The check glass pearls, I feel like they are not spray painted in the same way. They are coated quite differently. They are a higher quality and they just don't have those little bumps on the edges. They are, whereas these are sprayed on a line, the check glass pearls are coated individually. So the paint does not chip on those. I'm not entirely sure what else makes them different, but I do know one thing for sure, and that is that they are treated individually where glass pearls are treated in a group. Okay. All right. Patty says that word. Check. Yup. It's not just the price, Peggy. I promise it's not just the price. Like they really are. There really is a difference in the way that they are colored. Okay, so to get started, I've got that 24-inch piece of 24 gauge artistic wire, and I'm going to anchor this to my quick link. So all I'm doing is I'm just laying the wire right across the top of the component, giving myself about an inch and a half here, and I'm going to just wire wrap it onto the component. And I'm not super concerned with it being beautiful at the moment because I'm going to fix that with my pliers here in just a second. So you want to wrap around about 3 times, 4 times. I'm going to go ahead and do 4 just to, so I don't want to have to worry about that little bend that I made in the wire. All right. Now, if they're not perfectly lined up, that's okay. You can come in with your pliers and just pinch them together on the ends to straighten them all up. Now, I am going to leave my tail on the wire for now because, and this is a little beginner's trick for you guys who are brand new to this, your wire will tend to spin on your component. And if you've got your anchor, if you've got your tail and you hold it down to kind of anchor it, it'll keep your wire from spinning. So it makes it a whole lot easier. It makes it more stationary when you're trying to wire wrap a bead. All right, so I'm going to take one of my glass pearls. I'm just going to thread that on to the end of my wire, and I'm going to drop that right down to the surface of the component. Now, I want my pearl to sit on the outer edge of my component. You can see my quick link is not very wide. There's not a lot of surface area here, but there's enough, right? There's enough so that that bead is going to sit right on the edge. So I want to be sure that that in fact is the case. So I sit the bead onto the component. I'll hold it with my finger in place, and then I'll take the wire following the natural path of the wire towards the inside of the component and then wrap around to lock it in place. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap around 3 times. And then I'm going to stop because I want to make a little note of something. Okay. So notice, first and foremost, I mentioned the natural path of the wire, right? We're wrapping around the component. So in other words, when I go to add my bead, the wire is coming from behind the component. I add my bead, and then we're going to the front of the component to wrap around. So we're following that natural path of the wire. We're not wrapping, the wire's not coming from the back and then I wrap to the back or anything like that. We just want to keep going in the same natural path. Something else is you'll notice that one end of the wire is short and one end is long, right? There's a short end where the bead is, and then where it's coming out of the bead, it's a little bit longer. That's because my bead, though it is hard to see because it's a circle, is actually sitting at a little bit of an angle on the surface of the component. Now, if you don't like that look, it doesn't bother me in the least. This is what it's going to look like. It just looks like little wire spokes, right? And both sides are this, well, one side has the short spoke, one side has the long spoke. If you don't want your bead to sit at an angle like that, let me show you what you can do. Now, I'm just going to do this for showing you because I want mine to sit at an angle. But if you don't like that look, let me show you how you can adjust it. So you would add your next bead. Uh-oh, I'm losing my pearls here. They're sneaking away from me. Afraid I'm not going to end up with enough. I think one of them has made its way to the floor. Okay. So if you don't want your bead to sit at an angle like that and you want your wire to be even on both sides, you're going to have to go a little bit slower. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring your bead down. You're going to bend your wire right where it is coming into the bead and coming out of the bead at the exact same measurement. That's going to make your bead sit up and down, and it makes your wire entering and exiting even. Do you see what I'm saying? So here we've got a short side and a long side. This one we've got 2 that are exactly the same. It really, all in all, doesn't make that much of a difference. But if you are particular about that kind of thing, you just want to go a little bit slower and set your beads accordingly. Okay. I don't mind that mine are going to sit at a little bit of an angle. So I'm going to go ahead. I've bent my wire. And I'm going to go ahead and wire wrap. Now, I want to do about 3 wire wraps in between each one of these beads. And the reason for that is so that, number one, they are locked into place, but also so that the beads are not crowding each other. Those 3 wire wraps are going to place my beads evenly all the way around the component so that they're not sitting right on top of each other. Each little bead has its own little spot, right? All right. So I'm just going to keep going, right? We're going to go all the way around our component and we're going to add beads until we have 14 beads on our wire. Now that's going to come, that number is important. And so whether or not you're using a 25mm quick link or you're using something different, you want to be sure that you're using an even number of your beads that you're going to use to go around. That way, when we go to attach our 2 pieces together, we can do it in between 2 beads. Do you see what I'm saying? So in that space right here between 2 beads, and it will be even on both sides at the top and at the bottom. All of that's going to be important. Okay. So you definitely want to try ahead of time to figure out like how many beads it's going to take, and be sure that if you're going to connect the two together, that you want an even number. Okay. So there's bead number 4, bringing it down, putting it right on the edge of the component, holding it into place, and then I'm just going to wrap around. So this is really, really good practice for those of you who are not confident in making your own components and need a little practice in your wire wrapping to a component. So the next step up from this would be making your component yourself, right? Instead of using something that's pre-made. But why bother when you've got quick links? Okay, there's another bead. Wrap around. I'm so sad that Joan and Colleen are not here today, but the weather is just so bad. We were going to get together today and they were going to help me put together some kits. And now I have to do kits all by myself. Oh, I wrapped that one too many times. Do you see? So that's also really important to me because I want the spacing to be evenly. I wire wrapped one too many times. So I'm going to undo this one very, very carefully. Undo that one. Okay. And then I'll just use my fingers to kind of straighten the wire back out. Stacia says, is there a trick to not kinking the wire? So really and truly just working with sections that are long enough but not too long, that makes a big difference. But I'm always kind of smoothing out as I go. So I'm always like adding a bead and then pulling the wire in short little sections with my fingers. Warming it up and keeping it nice and straight as you go will help. But long lengths of wire, they just have a tendency to do that. So just make sure that there's nothing around you in like a 2-foot radius that your wire can get hooked onto. That's really my biggest trick. Oh, we got a grumpy face. Who's grumpy? No grumpy. Are you grumpy because it's raining? Do you need a hug? Colleen says she's way sad too. Stacia says she has that problem a lot. Stacia, maybe try cutting your wire pieces down. I have that problem when I'm working with really long sections of wire. Peggy says Cooper and Albert will help me make kits. They'll definitely keep my feet warm while I'm making kits. Cooper's not good with measurements and Albert doesn't do numbers, so okay. I was thinking that I would take them out after the live and we would go through the drive-through somewhere, but the rain is just nonstop. All right, so I'm still just going around, right? Adding all of my beads. It's pretty straightforward here. One thing I do want to check though is I want to take a look. Since we've got 14 beads, I want to be sure that I got 7 and 7 and that I'm going to have a clear middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our middle spot is going to be right here between that second to last bead and the last bead that I just added. And it's going to line up right here with our top. Okay, because those two little spaces, I know they're not very big, but that's where we're going to connect our two components together. Okay. And also, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was out of the picture there. You can adjust these a little bit, right? The 3 wraps around are going to keep things evenly spaced as possible, but let's be honest, as you're working, sometimes you can move your beads out of space. You can scoot some of them too close together. You really have some room in here to adjust a little bit if you need to by pulling them apart or squeezing them closer together. Okay, this wire is not permanent yet. We haven't locked any of this into place until we add that last bead. So don't worry if they're not evenly spaced you can get in there with your fingers and really adjust everything. Janella said, is that the rain you were wanting about 2 weeks ago? Yes, it is. But when I placed my order, I didn't mean for it to be like hurricane rain. And that's what we have. We have hurricane rain. Like, I woke up this morning singing that song from Hamilton. My daughters were like, Mom, please stop. For those of you who are Hamilton fans, you know the one, In the Eye of a Hurricane. Whoops, I messed up. I want to show you where I messed up. There's quiet just for a moment. My kids were like, Mom, stop. Do you see how I did 2 on the back? I didn't follow the natural path of the wire because I was reading the chat. So I'm going to undo all of my wraps. Now, if that happens to you, okay, if that happens to you, I'm actually going to take the bead all the way off because I need to smooth this out a little bit. Now, I could just work straight through it if I wanted to, but I'm kind of particular. So I'm going to use my nylon jaw pliers to try to straighten this out as much as I can. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close, right? And you can see the little paint ring? That's why glass pearls they're just not my favorite. I really prefer check glass pearls, but you use what you got, right? All right, so let's try that again. Okay, we're coming from the back. Did I do that one too many times? I did. You're right, Joan. You're right. Joan's calling me out. Okay. There. Now, hold that in place. That poor little wire. Did I get new nylon pliers? No, I've got 2 pairs and they're both in pretty bad shape. The one pair that you saw me use is in a little better shape than the other pair. But you can see they're pretty roughed up. I'm pretty hard on these. Look at that. They do their job, right? All right, couple more pearls to add. Preciosa mixed pearls. I love Preciosa. All right, so another pearl. Joan, I did it again. And you know why I did it again? Because I was reading your inappropriate comment. Hi. Yeah. See, if you were here instead of there, I could keep you under control. Okay. Here's my next pearl. Okay. Now I do have to, after I add the next pearl, I do have to count because I think, oh, there's one. Okay, never mind. I thought we had lost one. Okay. Again. Now I want to show you because we're running out of space here, but I need to add one more pearl. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I need one more pearl, but I don't have enough room. See? But like I mentioned before, all of this is not locked into place yet. So I really can kind of open it up, make room for that last pearl, and then everything will really kind of lock into place. So I can wiggle, right, just enough to get in there to get my wrap started. Okay. And wrap around. And what I want is I want this wrap to meet the wrap where we started, which is that anchor wire. Do you see? So I have the 2 wires there meeting up with each other. And I got all the pearls wrapped around. Now I'm going to come in and cut off these wires. And I want to try to cut them as close to each other as possible so that when I smash all this down with the pliers, that it looks as seamless as possible. So I cut off the longest wire. Now I just have my little tail wire, and I want to come in and be really, really careful and try to cut right where the two wires meet. If you can't get exact, that's okay. But I do like to try to get it as close as possible, because then that way it looks like one continuous piece of wire. Now, it doesn't look that way yet. See that little piece that's poking up? But when I come in with my pliers, I can bite down on it with the pliers and kind of tidy it up a little bit, right? And then I can pinch the wire wrap sections together. Now that's a little bit larger wire wrap section than we have down here on the bottom. That's okay, because I'm gonna do a wire wrap here to connect the two together. But that's our component, right? We've got all of our pearls on our component. Now you want to repeat that with a second component so that you've got two of these, and we're going to link these two together. This is a really quick project, you guys. I didn't realize how quickly this was going to go by. All right, so what I'm going to do, the first thing I want to do is I want to connect the two together. I'm going to use a piece of 22 gauge wire, and I'm going to use, let's see here. I want to be sure that, all right, so I'm going to just use, I've got 3 pearls here. One of them is like a 10 millimeter. One of them is an 8 millimeter. I'm going to put these two on the bottom. No, I'm not. I'm just going to, I thought I had, that's why I was looking at the picture. Okay. I'm going to use an 8 millimeter here and a 10 millimeter here on the bottom, and then we'll attach our tassel, but we're going to start with this smaller 8 millimeter one. I'm sorry if that was confusing. I was confusing myself there a little bit. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 22 gauge piece of wire. It's about 4.5 inches long. Okay. And we're going to create a wrapped loop on one end. So I'm coming down from the top of the wire about 1.5 inches. I'm going to give the wire a bend, and then I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers to make a loop. But I want to come back to some of the largest part of my round nose pliers. I want a nice large loop here, which is different for me because I usually make small loops, but we're going to stick with the large loop for this. I'm going to go up and over the top barrel of the pliers. Okay. I got to rotate those pliers so that I can take that wire over to the other side. But now before I wire wrap anything, I'm going to take this off of the tool. There's my nice large loop. I'm going to come in with my pliers, and very gently, I'm going to open just slightly. Okay. I'm opening that loop just a little bit so that I can go ahead and wire wrap this directly to my component. So there's the middle of the top, and here's the middle of the bottom. I want this wire wrapped loop to go right there. So that's why I opened it up. Now it's going to sit on top of those wire wraps that are already there, right? Now, a little tricky because we're working in such a small space, but I'm going to come in with my bent chain nose pliers so that I can hold on to that loop. You can use your regular pliers if you want to, but I feel like using the bent chain nose pliers, see how it takes the pliers out of the way? And then I've got plenty of room to come in here and wire wrap about 3 times. Okay, so there's my wire wrap. When I let go, we are wire wrapped directly to our component. We're going to come in with our cutter tool and trim off the excess. Okay, all right, I'm going to thread on my bead. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I got to start my wrapped loop, but then we have to wire wrap it directly to our other component here. So grabbing the wire right where it is exiting the bead with my chain nose pliers, I'm going to give that wire a bend. Now I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers. And again, I want it to be a large loop. So I'm coming back here towards the back of the mandrel, back here where the taper is the biggest. And I'm taking the wire up and over. going to rotate those pliers and then take the wire over to the other side. Now, again, this has to come off of the tool so that we can wire wrap this directly to the component. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come in with my pliers and very gently just open that up just a little. It just makes things a lot easier to go ahead and pre-open it instead of trying to wiggle the two together. Okay, now I got to find, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So right in here between these two, I'm just going to take that and see how opening that up makes those slide together so much easier. That way I don't have to fight with it. It's in such a small little space. I want to make it as easy for myself as possible. Now, again, we're working in a really small spot, so those bent chain nose pliers are really going to help to kind of come in and hold that loop closed, right? And now you kind of have to let gravity do the rest of the work for you to hold everything and let it kind of drop down so that you can get in there to do your wire wraps. So I'm going to use my pliers this time. Wire wrapping between. Okay. And need to straighten up that loop a little bit. That's not the most perfect loop, but here's the thing. Even if it's not the most perfect loop in the whole world, nobody's going to know, because once you're looking at it hanging, you can't even tell. So I'm going to come in, cut off the excess, and then I'm going to straighten all of this up just a little bit because it is sitting a little crooked here, and I'll show you what I mean. So that's our go-between here, but I want those loops, like one loop is sitting straight up and down, but this other loop is not. So I'm going to come in very carefully with my pliers and just kind of straighten that loop up a little bit. And that's going to help it to hang nice and straight. It's still a little crooked. Straighten it up a little bit. There, that's much, much better. So now we've connected the two together, right? And we're almost done. We're almost finished with this. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add another purl down here to the bottom, and we're going to wire wrap our tassel onto this and then use a couple of jump rings and we'll be ready to go. Is this an earring? No, Jan. It's a pendant. It's a pendant. I know I'm big on big earrings, but this is way too big for an earring. So this is a pendant, though you could do smaller quick links and make really beautiful earrings out of this, but no, we're doing a pendant. All right. Wanda thought it was earrings too. No, it's a pendant. I promise. It's a pendant. All right. So we're going to follow the same steps. So we've got another piece of our 22 gauge wire, right? And so we're going to give the wire a bend. We're going to come in with our round nose pliers. Okay. And again, I'm going to make a large loop again. So I'm coming towards the back. I'm going to go up and over. I'm going to rotate the pliers so that I can take the wire over to the other side. And again, I want to take this off of the tool and very, very slightly open it up just a little bit, like you would a jump ring, right? I'm going to come to the bottom of our component right here and hook that right in there, just like so. And again, I'm going to come back in with my bent chain nose pliers. Okay, and I want to close that loop up, and then I want to hold on to it. Okay, I'm going to wire wrap. Okay, I'm going to come in with my cutter tool and trim off the excess. Whoops, almost cut the long wire. Okay, I'm going to thread on a purl. Oh my gosh, Wanda. Oh God. All righty. Well, I'm never going to think the same about any of this now. Okay, now I'm going to do another wrapped loop here, but this loop does not have to be a big loop because I'm not doing anything other than just going through this little loop here, right? So chain nose pliers coming in, now they're gone, coming in with our round nose pliers, and I'm just going to make a regular size loop this time. Doesn't need to be great big. Up and over, rotate, take the wire over to the other side. Okay, and there's our loop. And I'm going to take the tail end of the wire. I'm going to take it through the loop on the top of our tassel and just snap those two together. So with this one, I didn't have to open that loop up. Right? Oh, Wanda. I am still going to come in with my bent chain nose pliers to hold everything out of the way. That is just too funny. And I'm going to wire wrap in that space. And I've got enough. It looks like I may have enough for about 4 wraps here. So we'll give it as many as we can get in there. Excess wire with this one. All right, so now I'm going to come in and I'm going to trim that off. So a single one of these would look really pretty. If you wanted to make a whole set and you wanted to make some earrings to go with this, a smaller quick link with the pearls on it and an ear wire would look really beautiful. But this one, see, it's nice and big, is not a tassel, it's a pendant. This would be way too big for an earring unless you're like super crazy bold, then some of us are. I would wear it as an earring, but I know a lot of you wouldn't. So we're going to keep it as a pendant. And we're just going to add some jump rings here and thread it onto a piece of chain. Now, I will mention silver silk would look beautiful with this. I'm using just regular plain chain, but I got to say, after I made this, I was like, I should have put this on a piece of silver silk because it would look so, so pretty. So if you've got some extra silver silk, I definitely would recommend that for this. So I'm just going to use 2 6mm jump rings and a 4mm jump ring as our go-between, just because this is such a small little space in here that adding a jump ring just wasn't quite far enough away from the component to make the chain hang nicely. So a 6mm jump ring, a 4mm jump ring, and another 6mm jump ring, and we'll thread our chain through that top 6mm jump ring, just so there's plenty of room here. Oh yeah, it does need dangles in the middle of each ring. So if you wanted to do that, you absolutely could. Let me put this on the chain first and then we'll talk about that, because I love all kinds of dangles. So I'm gonna go back in here after we're done here and put more dangles on this. But let me show you, if you were gonna do that, I'll show you how I would do it. Now there are different ways, obviously, to add your dangles to the middle of this, but I would utilize, for one thing, on the top one, I've got this jump ring here, so I could hang something from that jump ring that would hang here in the center, right? Or you could hang something here that was big enough to come all the way down here and attach down here to this loop as well, and that would keep it stationary in the center, so it wouldn't move back and forth. It would just sit right there in the center, nice and pretty. Same thing down here. If you wanted to, since we don't have a jump ring, but we do have a loop here where our bead is looped on, you could use this loop as your place to hang something. Or again, you could attach it here and here to these 2 loops and it would stay stationary in the center. So there you go, right? Super, super cool. Just really easy to put together. This, for me, this is like, if you're thinking about, now I know, okay, don't come at me. I realize it is only August, but there are a lot of you out there who are working on holiday jewelry right now. There are a lot of you who are getting ready for the fall booths. And a lot of times holiday and party jewelry ends up in your fall booths. This is one of those pieces. This would definitely be like a piece that a customer would buy to either wear to a holiday party or give as a gift. So if you're thinking about those kinds of designs, now is the time to start thinking about them and to be thinking about these pendants that you can put together that don't take a whole lot of technique, just some simple wire wrapping, but the results are really beautiful. I'm going to turn you around so you can see this on a bust, and then we will say our goodbyes. So let me get you turned back around to the front camera here. Just takes an extra second when I'm using StreamYard than it did when I was going straight through Facebook. It's an extra button I gotta push. Grab the bust here. It's tangled up in some wires. I'll show you this. So I personally would wear this as like a really long necklace, but you can do this however you want to, right? You don't have to. Now, for showing it to you, I'm going to keep it short, but I would wear this as like a really long necklace and maybe layer it with some other things, maybe some more blue so that it would kind of match with the tassel. But you can see how definitely a statement piece will look really, really beautiful as a nice long necklace, maybe with some shorter necklaces, some golds, maybe some blues, or maybe nothing, right? You don't have to if you don't want to. I'm just making suggestions here. I never can seem to hold this up straight when I'm trying to show it to you guys. It's actually crooked as it is, but so there you go. Now you don't have to do a tassel. You don't even have to make this into a necklace. You could do just simple hoops with the pearls and make earrings out of it and call it a day. So tassels on the bust. Why did I say it out loud? Y'all are too funny. You're too funny. So there you go. There's our project for today. No, it was easy and quick. Went by pretty quickly, right? We didn't do a full hour, but that's okay. That's okay. We don't always have to do super crazy long projects. Now, that being said, I want to mention something to you guys real quick about next week, because I just now got the okay from Sam. So I will be with you guys, of course, on Thursday for another project. I don't know what that project is going to be yet, so I'm open for suggestions if you want to add to my suggestion list. However, next week, our schedule will still be the same. We'll get together on Tuesdays, but on Thursday of next week, Sam will be here. I'm really excited. I'm always excited when Sam comes. Sam will be here on Thursday during our regular scheduled show. We're going to do the Sam Speed Box. I'm going to show you all the pretty beads that were in the August box. I don't know what I was about to say. The August box, and we're going to put together a project and just spend some time with Sam. So looking forward to that. So mark that on your calendar for next week. Thursday, Sam will be here. Let's see. The other thing is tomorrow, you guys, a lot of times my Michael's classes are on Saturdays, so every once in a while they fall on a Wednesday. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time is my Michael's class. We're doing an easy peasy necklace project, and we're just talking about the different lengths of necklaces and when and where and why those different lengths would be appropriate. So if you want to see a simple stringing project during the Michael's class tomorrow, 2 p.m., you can go ahead and sign up for that. Trying to think if there's anything else. Is that tomorrow? I feel like Joan has me doing a different project. Joan, what is my project for tomorrow? I thought I was doing a stringing project, but it may be a jewel loom project. I can't remember. I have to check. See my schedule. I can't even keep up with myself. If I didn't have Joan to keep me in line, I don't know what would happen. It would be bad. All right. Oh, Peggy said snack shenanigans with Sam. Also, yes, that is in the works. I'm actually working on a little list of things that I would like to see Sam eat. So that'll be coming soon. I don't have a set date on that, but that is in the works. So yep. All right, you guys have a wonderful, it's a cool jewel loom project. Well, there you go. It's not a stringing project at all. We're doing a jewel loom project tomorrow. I'm glad I didn't set out all of my materials yet. So now I know what to grab. All right. Whew. You guys have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. I will see some of you at 2 p.m. tomorrow for a jewel loom project for Michael's. The rest of you, I will see you on Thursday with another fun project. And don't forget our Friday, Feel Good Friday shows coming up. I'm working on those kits right now. So stay tuned. Looking forward to that. I'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys.